All right, so I got through watching a Wolf Blitzer on his little Situation Room, and he was interviewing John McCain on the crisis in Syria. Yeah, we don't have a crisis here in America. The debt's not a crisis. Yeah. The economy, that's not a crisis. No, things are cool. Um, and I'm trying to but this microphone has a really shitty microphone, or it's a web camera that has a really terrible microphone. I get too close and it starts to pop if I get too loud. And this issue really pisses me off. Nobody on CNN provides my point of view. Nobody in the mainstream media defends my point of view or argues my point of view or um, asks questions based on my point of view as a libertarian, a small government um, conservative, where you want to call me. Libertarian, I guess, is the proper word. Why is that? I thought the mainstream media wasn't biased. I thought they were fair. Because Wolf Blitzer, when he asks questions about John McCain, they're always from a big government standpoint. It's always from the standpoint of, and this is not just Wolf Blitzer. Later on, John King comes on with his nasally little gay voice, and he said something to the effect of, "Well, it looks like right now we're going down the diplomatic route, and that's having failed miserably." The assumption, of course, is that we should have more government intervention by the mainstream media. These people who claim to be unbiased. Well, if they're unbiased, then why are they advocating for more government intervention of some sort? What am I advocating for? I'm advocating for no United States intervention. Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm advocating for. Fuckers in the mainstream media. That's exactly what I'm advocating for. I'm not going to apologize for it. Why can't I have that opinion? Why is that opinion outside the realm of agreeable political discourse? The better questions Wolf Blitzer should have asked John McCain is, what threat is Syria to the United States American people? Well, they're a threat to our interests. That's pretty vague. What the fuck does that mean? What interests? I don't even know what he would say to that. What interests? Stability. Stability. One of the last bastions, one of these continual military interventionist whores, after years of telling us we need to intervene into the Middle East because it'll become chaotic unless we intervene. We intervene. We spend probably now up to $1 trillion in the Middle East, keeping it stable, and it becomes more chaotic. Libya, Syria, the region spirals out of control, and we're still told by the same person that we need to do even more. Even though we're broke, we're bankrupt, and we can't afford to do more. We have no constitutional authority to do more. We have no moral necessity to do more. If the people around the world are that concerned about Syria, they should take their own ass into Syria and stop it. That's the reality. And the problem is the political discussion in this country on the media, it never includes our viewpoints. And we're just completely relegated to the sidelines. We have no say in anything. We have no power. We have no cred. I mean, it's like we're just ignored, basically. Even after all of the gains we've supposedly made, we're still relegated to the sidelines. And we have we can't interject our opinion into anything unless it's on like some sort of libertarian show, Stossel or something, and then Freedom Watch is gone now. Freedom Watch should have never been on Fox Business. It should have been on Fox or something. MSNBC or CNN should go grab Freedom Watch. Stupid fuckers. But anyways, this is the problem as I see it, is we are so hidden. Our viewpoints are so hidden that if we were to take over the mainstream thought in journalism, so to speak, or to at least have journalists ask these fucking questions, I mean, it's so annoying. And I think maybe that's something we should consider in this movement, is launching an attack against CNN, to always pound them when they don't ask questions from our perspective. And I want to make clear, all I'm talking about is Wolf Blitzer asking John McCain a question from our point of view. If he can ask a question from Obama's point of view, or even other Republicans' point of view, or people outside of Syria, A lot of those nations over there have bought into the bullshit that it's the United States' job to police the Middle East. Why? Because that's what we've told them. So now they come after us and go, well, why aren't you intervening here when you intervened in Libya? And then the progressive elites, the internationalists, they go, well, they got a point. And then so now we got to go into Syria. And so they use that against Obama. They go, well, you intervened in Libya, so why don't you intervene in Syria? I'm getting loud again. And all the while, our point is never brought up. And so what we need to start doing maybe is even, I don't know, put a website together to launch full-scale attacks against people like Wolf Blitzer, John King, all these interviewers, go after them, attack them, pepper them with questions. Why aren't you asking questions defending the libertarian point of view? Why aren't you asking this fucking question? What about this fucking question? Here's a good fucking question. What threat is Syria to the United States of America? Nothing. What constitutional authority do we have to invade Syria? They haven't attacked us, and there's been no declaration of war. Stay out of it. Covert operations and sanctions will lead to war. That's my opinion. Stay out of it. Challenge them from our perspective. And if we attack them long enough and hard enough, and that's what she said, perhaps we can get them thinking on that level to where every time they interview someone, they may have a few, okay, wait a minute, they would call it anti-government. That's how fucked up their mind is. They're so locked into the whole Democrat-Republican line. It's this thick. You got to stay within that line. And if you go outside the Democrat and Republican side, oh, that's just outside the mainstream. You got to stay in that fucking box. And if you get outside of that box, oh, you're risking your creed, whatever the fuck the word is, the integrity, your journalistic integrity, whatever the fuck that is. This coming from CNN, who hired that one chick, was it Susan Rosen, who interviewed the Tea Partiers and clearly hated every one of them. She hated the whole movement. Clearly this is an anti-government rally, and she was out there, she's all pissed off. I mean, well, I made my point. This is just, I mean, I feel like I'm back at 2007 again. I feel like we haven't made any inroads at all now. I mean, after watching this, the mainstream establishment, the system just continues going on, same old bullcrap. You know, Greek votes for austerity, whatever the fuck they're doing over there. They all want their cheese, they want their government cheese, and there ain't enough to go around. They're still fighting over it. More and more, you start to see that people like the anarchists they're being proven right. As much as I'm not into anarchy, we are witnessing the downfall of it's like any sort of government control is failing. It's not working. It can't work. And it doesn't work. And their last hope is war. Their last thing they have is war. War. And even the fights are over what? Government control. Everything is related back to control and government. And the thugs and the violence of government. And I don't know. I mean, this country needs a Stefan Molyneux enema. This world. I mean, that's really what we need, is that someone who can change our way of thinking. And because otherwise it's going to take us 30 freaking years to change this thing. The libertarian movement would have to somehow, we would have to convince the American people we're right, but they would have to convince congressional leaders, presidents, Senate, judges. We would have to convince judges, local, city, state leaders. Also, this is probably one of the bigger ones actually, is colleges, academia. Macadamia nuts. Colleges are huge. Getting into the minds of the people out there. Cops, lawyers. We get these ideals into the minds of the people, and that's how we can change things. But it's hard to do that when it's like we can't penetrate the matrix. We can't get in to the media. And contrary to what a lot of people like to think, no one watches the media. Yes, they do. They do watch the media, and that's why things are so screwed up. Maybe not as much as they used to, but now it's more spread out. There are places we make inroads, and that's of course online. And it is kind of beautiful today to watch some of the comments we get on some of these pro-war stories. Whenever there's a propaganda piece that comes out on Bloomberg, the typical Iran did this, fear, terrorist, act, nuclear, attack, explosion, threat, violence, take action, action needed, crisis grows. These key words that are trying to push the establishment. Well, we got to do something. In the comments of these, you will see line after line of, in some cases, nonpartisan, which is what I love the most. I hate partisan shit. I hate partisan bullshit. But a lot of it's nonpartisan. This sounds like war propaganda to me. You'll see someone saying, or they'll say, well, why are they going after such and such? Because we did A, B, and C, whatever. There's a lot more. They're fucking sick of it. And I think politics is actually sort of, our political leaders, they are lagging indicators to the true grassroots beliefs or ideals. I think the politics has a tendency to lag what the people represent or where they're going. I think the American people are trying, they're starting to become more libertarian. It is moving in that direction, but the political establishment and the media and stuff isn't there yet. It hasn't moved there yet. And so that's why we have this, quote, huge divide that they're always fucking talking about. Really what it boils down to is they're not ready to get there yet because they're just not there yet. And the frustrating part for us libertarians is in this whole process, here we are, trying to get Ron Paul the nomination. That ain't going to work, probably more than likely at this point. I think it's over. And I know it's over, but there are still people who think that they're going to, nominate him from the floor or something. I just don't see that as happening. Because you're going to have a situation where, let's say they do nominate Ron Paul from the floor. And let's say Ron Paul won the nomination. Well, Rand Paul just endorsed Romney. That's a little bit of a problem, don't you think? That would be pretty fucked up if that's what happened. So I think we got a big disconnect there. With the party, we have a disconnect with the campaign and then the people at the ground. Again, there's that lagging indicator I was talking about. The people at the ground are thinking one thing, the people at the top are thinking something completely different. Sorry, I had some wings, Chicken Express. So yeah, the burp was everything I thought it could be. So overall, pretty shitty. I just watched maybe 20 minutes of Wolf Blitzer, and I had enough for a video. So we've got a lot of work to do, and I don't even know if we have the time to do it in. The crises. There's going to be a war eventually somewhere. There's always some sort of fucking war going on. It just feels like it's time for a big one. I just don't quite know who it's going to be through or with. And I kind of hope Iran calls the United States bluff and lets inspectors in. Iran supposedly said that they would, okay, fine, then give us, what is it they want? They want to use nuclear energy for heating oil or whatever. Heating, I don't know if that's what they want to use it for. I don't really fucking care what they want to use it for, to be honest. I'm to the point now, I don't care if Iran gets a nuke. I'd almost prefer Iran to have a nuke so that we can't go to war with them. Fuck it. Seriously, if we're going to go down this road, then I want Iran to have a nuke. Hell, at this point, I want every country to have nukes. You level the playing field. If every country has nukes, no one will ever go to war. It's a thing of beauty forever. And true uprisings will have to come from within, because ultimately the people within each country is responsible for their government. And if they make a false choice and they pick a Hitler, then it's their responsibility to change it, not mine, not ours. Imagine that. Individual responsibility. What a fucking concept. Shh. Don't let anyone else know about it. We don't want the mainstream media to hear about it because they'll accuse me of being biased. Anyways, see ya.